Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it is time for another edition of our weekly track roundup, where I go over the tracks from this past week that I thought were good, that I thought were maybe not so good. Let's get into it. First, I want to give a shout out quickly to the tour that I have coming up this May, West Coast tour. The first date is already sold out. That Vancouver date sold the frig out. Moving on from there, we have Seattle, Portland, San Fran, some of those bigger venues following that original date. In Vancouver, they are more than halfway sold out. So, I mean, look, we're more than a month out. We may be turning away some people at the doors the day of, if we are, hoping and praying that there's going to be some tickets a day of show. Buy them ahead of time so you know that you are going to get in that day. It's like a TED Talk on acid, high on memes, high on music. I'm going to be there. Cal's going to be there. It's going to be a good time. All right, moving on from there, I want to give a shout out, of course, to our Amazon and Turntable Lab associate links. They are down there below. Make sure to hit up that TTL link. Treat yourself to a colorful vinyl pressing of a record we have reviewed on the channel. We get kickback from it. And let's get into the worst tracks of the week. The worst tracks of the week. Ooh, yeah, woo, woo. All right, first off, Ferreira is back, everybody. And the Ferreira is back, everybody. And new album is on the way. The teaser track to this thing is Downhill Lullaby, and it is the most horrifically boring, comatose piece of overproduced pop I've heard in a while. I mean, there is way too much instrumentation on this thing, considering just how, I don't know, how much of a nothing the vocals are on this track. The appeal of Sky's music, unfortunately, just continues to elude me, really. Moving on from there, Farrell of Jane's Addiction fame comes through with some new solo music, and I feel like the Death Grips thing has kind of come full circle. You have the band sampling Jane's Addiction on their debut record, and here comes Perry, new music, and it sounds almost like a weird industrial rock, at points kind of like funky hip-hop fusion thing. And Perry is essentially just the beast he worships. Moving on from there, new track from Modest Mouse. I don't know what Isaac Brock was thinking on this one. Poison the Well is the title of this new track, and it sounds like a totally messy mishmash of a lot of different things, between like the pinch harmonics on the guitar, the noisy kind of new wavy riffs, as usual shouty yelpy vocals. It just sort of sounds like a total train wreck of music styles that should have never crossed over. Also do want to mention on this previous track over here from Perry, the name of the song is Pirate Punk Politician, which honestly, when you think about it, is kind of a Death Grips lyric. Moving on from there, we have a brand new collaborative cut from a UK rapper that I just found out about, and I enjoy what I've heard of him thus far quite a bit. His name is Kid Bookie. And after I hyped up a track of his that I thought was really good, he contacted me and thanked me and said he had new music on the way with, believe it or not, Corey Taylor of Slipknot fame. And I don't know, the potential marriage here seemed like it could be cool, seemed like it could be interesting. I mean, for Corey to reach out to an artist like Bookie and want to work with him and see the potential in him, I think is pretty promising. However, I did not end up being all that into this track. Not that I think that Bookie's lyrics or anything are bad. That's certainly not the case in my opinion. Some of the vocal manipulations and robotic choruses and effects do feel a little burdensome, just like a little bit much, kind of obnoxious. But really what ended up turning me on with the track was Corey Taylor essentially trying to write a very edgy rap verse in the second leg of the song, and it's really a total mess. But whatever. Moving on from there. To the tracks that I thought were kind of meh, not necessarily terrible, but not necessarily songs that were blowing me away or anything like that. Certainly worth your attention. Let me point them in your direction. First off, Tallest Man on Earth has a brand new song out that sounds like a Tallest Man on Earth song. I'm a Stranger Now is actually kind of a heartbreaking tune of losing love, I guess, and sort of finding yourself in that position where the relationship or the romance has been broken off, and now you're post that, and now you are sort of a stranger to that person, to that situation, to that relationship. It's kind of saddening, you know, but still I feel like the sound is sort of I guess sort of been painted into a corner at this point, which is unfortunate, but still it's not a bad ballad. Moving on from there, we have a brand new track from Kevin Morby, Nothing Sacred, All Things Wild, which has some very, very, very strong Lou Reed vibes coming out of the vocals, which I liked quite a bit. You know, it was actually kind of a cool, laid-back, somewhat artsy rock song that was a little low down and had a pretty decent chorus to it. Moving on from there, this group who goes by the name of Grays, that I was not really familiar with previously, has a brand new cutout titled Arclight, and it is a pretty fantastic industrial piece of noise rock. I mean, the vocals and the songwriting aren't the best I've ever heard, but goddamn is the mix on this thing heavy and noisy. Moving on from there, the band Ghoul has come through with a brand new track out of the blue. Nazi Smasher is the name of it. I mean, instrumentally for Ghoul, it sort of sounds like your typical, you know, crossover, hardcore punk thrash blend, but it's about smashing Nazis. So, you know, there you go. Frankie Cosmos is back with more haunted items, which sort of seems like it's just kind of an ongoing song series where she's just kind of laying it bare on the piano, very naked vocal recording, and, you know, not super dolled up or anything like that. Just very intimate, very sad, very chill, very laid back. The title of this new track over here that I dug from this new Haunted Items single set is the track Eternal. Moving on from there, Dianne Coffey has dropped another track from the forthcoming album Internet Arms. The title of this song is Like a Child Does, and in my opinion, it's I don't know, not nearly as showy or as fantastical as the last single. It's kind of like a somewhat so-so run-of-the-mill piece of synth pop with some kind of campy, very theatrical vocals, but, you know, that's about it. Moving on from there, Ciara has a brand new track out, which I think has a killer groove to it. Loving that little guitar and bass line worked into the track. Loving the beat on this track. Her vocals aren't bad either. I just think the chord progression is a little generic. Again, if I haven't said new album on the way, but I don't know. Can't say I'm super excited based off of this single, but I know there are some people looking out for this sort of thing. So moving on from there, Cage the Elephant has dropped a brand new track with none other than Beck. Night Running is the title of it, and believe it or not, this is kind of like a weird, I don't know, garagey, psyche rock blend with some reggae, and it's not bad instrumentally. I actually think all of the sounds and aesthetics that usually get worked into a Cage the Elephant song marry pretty well with the reggae guitars and the beat and the kind of splashy, trippy, delay heavy, and dubby production. It's really just the vocals and the tune of the track that I just found to be so-so, honestly. Moving on from there, Brooke Candy has come through with a brand new track, which is titled Happy, and it's got a lot of auto-tune, it's got a lot of distortion, a banger beat. It's a little grating and difficult to listen to, but I do kind of enjoy the oddity of the song quite a bit. I do wish maybe the tune or the hook were a bit catchier or a bit more solid, but still I do enjoy the fact that the track is out there, and at least she's taking a risk, I guess. Moving on from there, Bibio has a brand new cut out. I have been anticipating his new record quite a bit based off of what I've heard so far, but I can't say that this new song, Old Graffiti, is wowing me all that much. I mean, I am liking the combination of, psychedelics and electronics and folk music, but really the tune of this one felt kind of bland and just really washed out by the huge emphasis on reverb with this one. Moving on from there, we also have a brand new cut from AlunaGeorge, Cold-Blooded Creatures, featuring Bryson Tiller. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think the tune and the vocals on this one are actually pretty great. Luna comes through with a great vocal line, and Bryson does a pretty decent job as well. There is definitely chemistry between the two on this track. It's really just the trap dance beat blend of the song that just feels utterly generic and just, I don't know, just so nondescript, just really not special in the current landscape of pop and hip hop, frankly. And let's move into the tracks that I thought were the best ones, the tracks that really kind of stuck with me and wowed me this week. One, Lil Uzi Vert, Free Uzi is the name of this new track over here. If I remember correctly, it has been randomly dropped onto the internet. There has been a lot of rumors bubbling through the music industry saying Uzi can drop a new album if he wants to, and Uzi still wants to drop music, and he hasn't really quit, and it's really just like kind of the label and all this, music industry drama and crap that's kind of keeping him from putting out new music and ruining the artistic process and so on and so forth. And, honestly, I hate to see someone of Uzi's stature and popularity sort of like fed through the grinder like that. It's actually pretty awful, because even if I'm not crazy about a lot of his stuff, I know his fans love his shit, and it sort of sucks that they can't get what they want because of essentially the bent over backwards position that Uzi has been put in. But it would seem that maybe there's some new commercial music coming out on the way, and maybe he's kind of teasing toward that with this track, where honestly, like, the beat on this thing is raw as hell. Uzi's flow is better than it's been on a lot of his more recent material that has been out there as of late. And I don't know, I would love to just hear more rapping from him in the future, where he is just like going this aggressive, because this was actually kind of a bit of a barn burner in my opinion. Moving on from there, Sebadoh has a brand new record on the way. If you're unfamiliar with the group, they are a pretty legendary lo-fi indie outfit, and I don't know, this track goes kind of hard. I mean, the riffs are gnarly, the lead vocals are really gruff and nasty, the drumming is pretty great as well. Sebadoh sounds as in their element as ever on this new cut over here, and gotta say, I'm looking forward to hearing more from what the band is doing on this new one. Moving on from there, a group who goes by the name of Kaapstad, which is a South African group with members from all over the globe, and they have put together this beautiful blend of hip hop and neo soul and a bit of jazz and R&B and art pop on this track titled Africa. It is one of two tracks that is out right now from this new album of theirs that is set to release in May, and it is absolutely friggin' gorgeous. I cannot get over how beautiful this song is. It is stunningly beautiful, and I'm just really looking forward to hearing more from this group that I just got turned on to this past week, honestly. Moving on from there, Rosalía has dropped a brand new collaborative cut with Balvin, and Con Altura is the title of it. A lot of people have been kind of disappointed by this new song over here. They've hated it, mostly because it would seem, Rosalía, she's going in a reggaeton direction, and we don't like that. We like her doing the flamenco. We like her doing the weird Spanish art pop, forward-thinking bangers. But listen, this is the first time she sort of collaborated with artists who make music in this field. It was only going to be a matter of time before she dipped her toes into this sound even further, because this is, let's face it, what is very popular and predominant in a lot of popular Latin music circles. And let's also be honest and say she has the voice for it. She's a really great singer, and it's not like as she sings over these types of songs, she sacrifices her own vocal quality or that she sells herself short vocally. And I'll admit that, sort of hearing her go in this direction artistically on this track was a little shocking at first and maybe even disappointing. But the more that I listened to it, the catchier the track got, the more apparent it became that the production is kind of weird. I would say the only thing I didn't really like about the release of the song is the corny-ass music video, but for the most part, I even like Balvin's parts on the track. I mean, for the most part, it's really just a fire cut. It's just a really fire single, and hopefully more songs in this genre going forward, stick to the roots of the sound, but also kind of display the same subtly weird, playful, and strange, somewhat tongue-in-cheek qualities, I guess, because again, all around this was a really fun and somewhat artful direction for this particular genre of music. Moving on from there, an old technical death metal group that has been around a while but has been on hiatus for quite a while, Nocturnus AD. They are back with a brand new song, a brand new album coming out via Profound Lore. Precession of the Equinoxes is the name of this new cut over here. And even though I'm not a huge technical death metal head, I do like kind of the nastiness of this song over here. I do like the strange synthesizers worked into the track. It feels very futuristic, feels very sci-fi, feels very strange, but it is totally just like, you know, nasty, disgusting, just as I love my death metal to be. And but it's got some nice dynamics to it. So digging on this track quite a bit. Moving on from there, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard have come through with another cut, Boogieman Sam. It is folky, it is funky, it is sticky as far as the melody goes, and really looking forward to this new record of theirs. I mean, that Fishes track that they dropped was still weird as fuck, and, you know, just like kind of left me scratching my head for the most part. But I mean, everything I've heard so far on this album is sounding pretty dope. All right, moving on from there, Foxygen has come through with what I think is like one of the weirdest takes on Lou Reed's sound and singing style that I've ever heard. It just sort of sounds like a very swagger-filled Lou Reed lead vocal, but with like the freakiest, most sour, interjecting melodies throughout the song that just feel really off-putting, but in a good way. And I don't know, man. Foxygen, they've had some highs and they've had some lows across their career, but as a songwriting duo, I don't think there are many out there that go toe-to-toe with them. And gotta say, every album I am looking forward to what they're doing and intrigued, you know, of what the next, intrigued with what's going to be the next move. So definitely looking forward to this. So new Oxygen album on the way, hell yes. And that has been, I think, the weekly track roundup. We have one more from a group by the name of Black Midi. Crow's Perch is the name of this new track over here. And if you're kind of really into that spazzy, abrasive, freakish, underground indie rock that was a huge deal in the 2000s, I think you will get a lot out of what Black Midi is doing on this track over here. This is not the first Black Midi song that I have shouted out in the weekly track roundup. It's been a while since I've talked about the group. Hopefully, you know, it doesn't take very long to hear more music from them in the future, because I'm liking, you know, their very again freakish approach to you know, just underground alternative sounds and rock music. So gonna leave it at that. All right, and yeah. Once more, I do want to say, come out to these tour dates if you guys can, if you're on the West Coast, at the start of May. And yeah, hope y'all are doing well, if I haven't said it already. And I will see you in the next video. Anthony Fantano, Weekly Track Roundup, forever.